The political space is charged up, and many Nigerians at this moment have turned political pundits. The subject of debate is not far-fetched. It is all about the 2023 presidential election and how party politics have been playing out. Good afternoon and welcome to Political Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, it's less than 48 hours to the presidential primary of the All Progressives Congress, and so much uncertainty fills the air. Who will emerge the party's candidate? Out of 23 aspirants screened, the list has been pruned to 13. This is coming on the heels of the president asking APC governors for the privilege to choose his successor. Will the party go the way of consensus? Will an election be held? Who will fly the flag of the APC in the 2023 presidential election? Now, so many questions begging for answer. Joining me via Zoom from Abuja is an APC presidential aspirant, the youngest on the party's platform, Dr. Nicolas Felix. Good to have you join us.
Good to be here.
Let me start with the latest, because we are seeing a list flying around as the list of the candidates who were screened, 13 candidates who were screened and cleared. I mean, you participated in that process. I just wanted to ask you, can we confirm that that is the actual list?
I participated in the process. I can categorically tell you that that list is wrong. The list is not accurate.
Okay, so we should disregard that list.
Yes, the list is not accurate.
All right, so
I'm not sure if the party has released a new list, but the list that I saw flying around is not accurate.
All right, so we'll take your word for it because you're a member of the APC and you were also one of the aspirants. So we would disregard that list. But let me also ask you about one of the latest, which is the fact that the Federal High Court in Kano State just yesterday ruled that Section 84 of the Electoral Act does not exclude statutory delegates from voting. Will your party take this into consideration ahead of the primaries?
I think I will leave that for the National Working Committee to be able to decide. I don't have a full, if the complete information as regarding that. So if it's something that is just coming up yesterday, I think the National Working Committee is going to work on that. But considering the time to our election, which is on Monday, I am not too sure how that is going to play, because as of today, some of the delegates are already coming in, and some have been here for the past 2 days. So I'm not sure how that is going to play in the election. We have barely less than 48 hours to go.
I want to get to what it would take to pick a candidate for your party in the moment, because we are seeing all of the gimmicks and the drama just to pick a candidate and a statement coming from the presidency. But I want to stay on the issue of the delegates because there is now, with this new Electoral Act and that part of the Electoral Act, which is Section 84, it does seem that there is a shift in the balance of delegates. The North, because of the local government, has more delegates than the South. For example, a state like Lagos will have just about, I think, 60 delegates because it has 20 local governments, and your party is speaking three delegates per local government. Whereas a state like Kano State that has 44 local government will have about 120-something delegates. I just want to get your thoughts on that shift and how people are reacting, saying that, look, it already favors the North over the South.
Yes, again, I don't have a full understanding of that list, so I cannot really comment more on it. The issue of delegate has been something a little bit confusing here and there. But as of today, if the law is signed, if the bill is signed, what is the effective date is the next question. Because as a party, and even as delegates, it takes a lot to pull delegates from various local government, states, all the way to Abuja for the convention. So I don't know how that is going to play into it. It takes a lot of logistics. We're talking about transportation, hotels, getting the list put together. I don't know how that is going to work. So I think we have the convention committee has been set up. They are the ones who this information will be coming out from. But as of today, we haven't been informed of any change to the list of delegates.
And for the list of delegates that you are aware of, because the Electoral Act only allows for elected delegates, and your party has said 3 per local government, which means that you are going to have, I think that puts it at roughly 2,340. You just mentioned the issue of logistics. How do you think that will play out, having that number of delegates in Abuja?
Yeah, the lesser the least. I think every aspirant is excited about that. It takes a whole lot to get the initial list we thought was over 7,000. That would have been a whole lot of delegates. And considering even the time casting their votes, we might stay there for 2-3 days. So now the list is reduced. That's what we're working with. So again, the National Working Committee and the Convention Planning Committee, they have the accurate information to what the list is. We have just been reaching out to the delegates in any way we can. But I know as of today, no information has been given to us of any new change in the list. Probably I'll have to find out as soon as we end this broadcast.
Can you give us information you have about that list of delegates? What information do you have?
I don't know if I'm allowed to come on national TV to release such information, but we will be reaching out to all the delegates. Like I said, it has been a little bit confusing knowing who is who. But as of last week, we were able to get it cleared out. But if there's any new information, I don't know if I'm allowed to, to speak more on. I'm just an aspirant. The National Working Committee and the Convention Planning Committee, they should be able to speak on this clearly.
And just staying on delegates, do you expect to see, because when we look back at the PDP presidential primaries, it does seem like the delegates were up for grabs, and people talked about how the whole process was monetized. We saw one aspirant, Hayatuddin, also pulling out saying that the process was obscenely monetized, and delegates seemed like they were up for grabs and for sale. Do you expect to see the same thing in your party primaries?
I haven't heard of such. Actually, I spoke with a delegate myself from Bayelsa, and he told me clearly nobody has given him any money. And for me as an aspirant, we have not paid anybody, and we do not intend giving anybody any money. All the delegates we reached out to, we've met, we told them clearly, I've offered myself as a service. I can't pay you to do what you're supposed to do as a citizen. Your job is to elect the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we haven't paid, and we do not intend paying any delegate. We expect them to vote their conscience, vote what is right, vote who they think is going to be the best man for the job. So so far, that's what we've done. I haven't heard of any candidate paying anybody. I hope that is not the case with what we saw with the People's Democratic Party.
And so you do not expect this process to be for the highest bidder?
I hope the delegates, you see, we have done our part as aspirants. We have met them. We have sold our vision to them. I hope that they will look beyond money, like several videos I've sent to delegates. I hope they will look beyond the political gladiators. I hope they will look beyond who pays the highest, if that is the case, and do what is right for the country. Because electing a candidate, as we know, we hope and we know that whoever be the candidate, which I know I am going to be, will be the next president of this great nation. So a lot of tax is laid on them. They have to do this right. They cannot get it wrong. So I hope and I pray that they get it right and not sell their vote.
So let's now get to this list that has not been released, which is the list of the aspirants that were screened. We heard from the chairman of the screening committee, Odige Oyegun, who is also a former national chairman of the party, and he said that out of 23, 13 were cleared and 10 were disqualified. But one would imagine that because some of these aspirants were already governors or former governors and former senators, they have gone through one form of screening or the other in your party, that it will be quite easy for most of them to scale through. So talk to us about what the criteria was in picking aspirants, or what the screening criteria was, since you went through that process.
It was basic for everybody. The basic requirements, document-wise, were asked. party regulation, party constitution, party dues, and also, of course, most importantly, your manifestation, your manifesto, what you're bringing on board. These are some of the questions that were asked, especially me, and it was quite easy. But let me get this clear. With what I'm hearing, no candidate, no aspirant was disqualified. I listened to the chairman very clearly yesterday. I think the news got out very wrongly. So you may be hearing it from me for the first time. So the list, we are still 23 aspirants. I think what the committee did was they chose or they recommended 13 among the 23. So nobody is disqualified with what I'm hearing. But I leave that for them to be able to change the news that is flying all over the place. But I heard him clearly yesterday saying he is not aware of anybody being disqualified. I think they just recommended 13 out of the 23 for consensus. So that's what I think is going on. But again, we have to wait for them to release a statement to that effect.
Isn't that semantics? When you say that 13 were recommended, it just means that 10 were not recommended, which is almost as good as saying these 10 people are not in the race because we're not recommending them. Isn't that as good as saying they were disqualified?
I don't know if I would say they were disqualified, but he said, I'm not aware. If you look at it again yesterday, I wasn't there. I watched it on TV just like every Nigerian out there. He said, I'm not aware of anybody being disqualified. So if the chairman of the committee is saying he is not aware of anybody being disqualified, I don't know where the disqualification is coming. Again, I'm expecting with this news out there, I'm expecting that the screening committee or the party will be able to come out and clarify the issue of disqualification.
All right, let me just get to your final thought on this. If that list were to be released, because we also understand that your party, because he said, and I just want to quote him, that's Oyego, he said that the screening committee engaged all the aspirants on the issues of consensus, and about 98 to 99 agreed, which means that maybe 1 or 2 persons did not agree to consensus. If your party decides to go with consensus, how would that play out? And I also want to ask if you were one of the aspirants who agreed to consensus.
Yes, I was one of the aspirants who agreed to consensus. And like you said, 98%, that's already a pass mark agreeing to consensus. But like I've always said, I know the consensus is going to be me because I'm the only new face in the party. Number one. Number two, Nigerians are yearning for a youth. I'm the youngest among all the presidential aspirants. And I bring a lot to the table. And I'm bringing something totally new. If you have been listening to my interview, you will notice some of the ideas I'm bringing. None of these candidates, past or present, have brought such ideas. So that's why I'm very confident that as we go into if there will be any consensus, it will definitely favor me. However, we are open to whoever is going to be the party. And I was so glad to hear that other aspirants on the same page. Because one thing we must do as a party, we must stay united. We have a bigger battle to fight. We cannot be divided. A divided party is a divided nation. So I was glad to hear that 98% of us are willing to go for that, which means it's going to be a successful election.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We are waiting for that list to be officially released by your party and then the reaction from the aspirant. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'm the youngest on the APC Presidential Aspirant, Dr. Nicolas Felix.
Thank you for having me.
Let's take a break now. When Political Standpoint returns, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.